Really anything that you want to chat about. Great guests coming up next week too. We'll tell you at the end of the show some of those that we've lined up. So we're going to begin today talking about basketball schedules. I know it's early, but there's some talk, and Tim Brando brought this up a little bit yesterday when we chatted with him. There's some talk around the frontier, possibly, of just playing conference games. Potentially, just playing conference games. Nothing's been set in stone. Nothing's been finalized. But if campuses are not open for the fall, which would mean no football and also no volleyball or soccer, but if campuses aren't open and don't open until maybe after Christmas, that would mean that it's a worst case scenario. Well, worst case is there's no basketball either. But there's a chance that conferences could play just conference schedules and no non-conference play, which would be very, very interesting and very, very weird, to say the least. We don't know if the NBA still wants to or is going to finish the season. They're still wanting to. How? We don't know. And the NHL season's still waiting. Are they going to cancel it? At this point, after 2 months, you should just cancel it. Because these NBA guys especially are, flat out just prima donnas. And the load management deal, yeah, they've had 2 months off, but they're going to want to play in, say, July through August and then come back in October? No, because they're prima donnas. They're babies. I will never say that about NHL guys because they'll beat the crap out of you. But do you care if there's an NBA champ this year? Does that mean after 2 months of no basketball, do you care anymore? I think people are more concerned about seeing if there's going to be A, Major League Baseball, and then B, Minor League Baseball, which I don't think happens this summer, unfortunately. And I was talking to a source today who said he'd be surprised if American Legion gets the go-ahead to play ball this year. I know they're practicing, but he said he'd be shocked if American Legion was able to go forward this summer with actual games. It's something to keep an eye on. And it would be very, very interesting. There's no doubt about that. But we'll keep, like I said, like I've been saying, we'll keep an eye on everything because we have to. John Heyman, who's been great over the years as insider at the MLB Network, also with a bunch of different places, tweeted out today that the MLB and Players Union are resuming talks about return scenarios and potential dates next week. That's when they're going to talk. Early July remains a best-case scenario. This is based on John Heyman's Twitter. Dependent on, of course, the virus, the availability of testing, and the data. They're hoping to have the regular divisions. I don't know if you saw last week or the week before the potential of 3 divisions and like the Yankees and the Mets in one division. But they're hoping to play at their own home parks. So there's that. There's also potential for no cross-country flights, limited travel, more divisional play, expanded rosters, expanded playoffs, more experiments like a runner on second in extra innings, which they've done in the minors, a lot more double headers, fewer off days. This is the funny one. High-fiving / spitting will be discouraged or forbidden. Good luck getting baseball players to not spit. But will there be baseball? And here is something interesting. The mayor of Boston, Marty Walsh, came out today and said that he is announcing that parades and festivals will not take place this summer in the city of Boston, up to and including Labor Day, September 7th. So how is Boston going to play baseball at Fenway Park? How are the Red Sox going to play if you cannot have large gatherings? There's a good chance that Boston won't have baseball if Major League Baseball even gets going. And that is something to keep an eye on because the NFL would be affected. We saw the governor of Oregon yesterday come out, or Wednesday, and say that large gatherings such as football games might have to be canceled in September, through September. That would affect a ton. And you think about what that would affect. North Dakota State was supposed to play at Oregon. The Bobcats are scheduled to play at Portland State on September 26th. Portland State is in Portland, which is in Oregon. And if that is the case where large gatherings and football games such would be canceled through September, that's no game. That means there's a potential, because the Bobcats are supposed to play Cal Poly. I think the Grizz are supposed to play Cal Poly September 26th, and then the Bobcats play them a couple weeks after that, both here in Montana. How is that going to happen if Cal Poly's not able to practice or travel? And we've talked about that a little bit. But now you throw Oregon into the mix. What about Washington? Think about Eastern Washington. And then you look at the basketball schedule, like we started at the beginning of the show. Think about that, because Cal State Fullerton already said they're not opening up for the fall. Well, if you can't open up, then they don't play football in Fullerton. Great baseball program. But if they don't have school on campus in the fall at Cal State Fullerton, that means no basketball practice gets started in October. There's no games then in November or December. I mean, there's ramifications that go a long, long way. We saw East Helena this week cancel its rodeo. Northern Rodeo Association rodeos, and PRCA all on hold in the state of Montana right now. And Hardin's already canceled. So there's a lot of things that we still are following, and I feel like a broken record because we don't have any answers, we don't have any solutions, and you get are we overreacting or not? I don't know. I still don't know. After 7 and 8 weeks, I still don't know if we're overreacting. But you just have to keep playing and plugging along, right? I mean, you got to go with the flow. Speaking of, I was wondering if I should grow my hair out and go with the flow in the back. It used to be awesome. It was good. I looked good back in the day. Okay, maybe not, but now I did. I had great hair. I mean, I still do, according to the wife, but anyway. All right, so we've got a fantastic song from a very young lady coming up. She wrote it herself. It's got over 8 million views already this week. We're going to hear from Jay Billis and Dan Schulman on their first reactions back in March when COVID-19 first started happening. Interesting answers, too. But coming up next here on the Jason Walker Show, we're going to check in with the Chief Executive Officer, the big man, the CEO, Sean Gleason of the PBR, Professional Bull Riders Tour. Unleash the Beast going on in Guthrie, Oklahoma this weekend and next weekend. They opened up last weekend with a fantastic show. There's a lot that they're not doing. There's a lot that they are doing. And how are they testing everybody? I thought states were low on tests. We'll ask Mr. Gleason that next when we come back here on the Jason Walker Show. Have you thought about buying a home and just don't know where to begin? Well, when it comes to one of the most important purchases one can make, we understand it can be frustrating and confusing, but it doesn't have to be. Let the Major Mortgage team help you with all your mortgage needs. Major Mortgage means major service, and we would love the opportunity to help you today. Give J.R. McFadden, NMLS number 1246357, a call today at 406-465-1918, or you can visit him at 2001 11th Avenue, Building A, Suite 3 in Helena. Major Mortgage is a division of AMCAP Mortgage, NMLS number 129122, equal housing lender. Yes, it's true that Montana is a long way from the Gulf Coast, but you can bring that Cajun flavor home with a stop at Cafe ZYDECO. From po' boys to classic sandwiches, Cafe ZYDECO has all the best Cajun in town. Are you in the mood for seafood gumbo or crawfish etouffee? Maybe you're craving jambalaya with some shrimp and grits. Head in for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or call ahead for pickup or delivery. Cafe ZYDECO will fix all your southern cravings, even on a chilly Montana day. Cafe ZYDECO is a proud sponsor of The Jason Walker Show. Spring is fast approaching and summer is just around the corner, so now is the time to get those windows tinted at Auto Concepts as the sun starts to heat up. Tinting is the best way to keep the sun out of your little one's eyes driving down the road. Plus, it just looks cool. Auto Concepts is your exclusive 3M dealer for tinting as well as the best clear bras in town. Auto Concepts clear bras will not fade or yellow over time. And don't forget about suspension lifts and power steps for your rig too. Visit AutoConceptsHelena.com or check them out on Facebook. Auto Concepts, the auto enhancement professionals.
Who doesn't love being number one? When your team's dominating the standings, or your favorite band rocks the charts at number one, it feels good, right? Kind of like how it feels when you have auto insurance with State Farm. Because making you feel like number one is an honor your local State Farm agent takes seriously. Through the good times and not so good, your State Farm agent's proud to be here to help life go right.
Call State Farm agent Mike Miller in Helena today. During this time of uncertainty and stay-at-home orders, Dinners Done Right wants to remind you that they're still open. Just go to dinnersdoneright.com, place your order, and then pick it up for dinner that night, or plan ahead and order for the weekend. It's easy. Visit dinnersdoneright.com, register, pick your meals, then pick them up. Or stop in and grab meals out of the front freezer. Dinners Done Right's taking extra precautions with extra cleanings going on with every piece of equipment and personnel. Dinners Done Right thanks you for your continued support, and may we all stay safe and healthy during this time.
Store-wide savings are what you'll find when you shop for new home furnishings at Rucker's Furniture. This means tremendous values on Helena's largest in-stock selection of home furnishings. When you shop Rucker's, you'll find store-wide savings on the furniture you want for every room in your home. And you'll also find our selection of Serta iComfort, the most comfortable beds in Helena. 12-month financing is available with approved credit on most purchases over $289. Ask for details. You'll find store-wide savings at Rucker's Furniture, 1010 Dearborn, Helena.
Welcome back to the Jason Walker Show.
Oh, good stuff. Welcome back, Major Mortgage Man Cave, Jason Walker Show. Hey, we're going to be getting some new stuff hanging up in here as well, so that's going to be awesome. It's going to be good. It's good. So, all right. Still to come on this day in history, the walk-off. Tell you what's coming up next weekend, or next week. It's Mother's Day this weekend on Sunday, so make sure you've gotten cards, flowers, whatever, for mom. Or your wife from your kids. You know how that goes. What else is going on? Not much. There's literally not much else going on this weekend. But I'll tell you one thing that is going on is golf. And you can get out to Green Meadow Country Club. Tell them you fan of the Jason Walker Show. Get signed up, become a member, and take advantage of some fantastic opportunities. Okay, aside from the golf, which is, most beautiful course around. But you also then get to hang out, and once we're through the COVID stuff, they have great stuff at Green Meadow Country Club. Great fun stuff for families, for the adults. Not to mention the food, which is fantastic. But you need to become a member. Like today, they have demo day with 3 great dealers, including Callaway. Tomorrow, they've got demo day for another, but you got to make an appointment. You got another one Tuesday, I think Ping on Tuesday. So get to Green Meadow Country Club. Tell them you're fans of the Jason Walker Show. Get signed up. A, we'll golf this summer, but B, you'll just have a good time with your family. Green Meadow Country Club. Perfect for you. All right, so coming up this weekend, you've got in Guthrie, Oklahoma, Lazy E Arena, the PBR, Professional Bull Riders Unleash the Beast Tour. No fans. They started this back a couple of weeks ago. No fans in the stands. It's bare bones production, but it's still the PBR, and it's still something to watch. And there's a lot of, we talked to Flint Rasmussen about it a couple of weeks ago. There's a lot of regulations. There's a lot of protocols that are in place. And last week went well. They're back at it this weekend and next in Oklahoma. And joining us now on the Mike Miller State Farm Hotline to talk about it is the Chief Executive Officer, the CEO of the PBR, Sean Gleason. He joins us now on the Jason Walker Show. All right, first question, Sean, is how are you doing? Because you haven't been sleeping a whole lot from what I hear the last month and a half or so.
Yeah, we've been pretty busy trying to figure out how to get back to work and then actually doing it. So it's been a challenging time, but we're here at the Lazy E for our second event back, and we're excited.
Last week seemed to go pretty well, very cooperative from everybody. Including the bull riders themselves. And this is not something that they're used to. Maybe expound on that is you know, we're used to seeing 40 or 50 guys on the back of a chute instead of 5 or 6.
Yeah, we actually are going to mix that up a little bit for this week. We realized that there were some challenges in safety. You know, bull riding, frankly, is a lot more dangerous activity to these guys than facing the coronavirus. So we're mixing it up a little bit and adding a few guys to the back of the chute so that we can get them out safely. But it is still a significantly reduced number to ensure that we're not doing anything that shouldn't be done relative to the safety of the bull riders as it does relate to coronavirus.
Sean Gleason.
But it's a really strange sight when you see 6 to 10 guys on the back of the chutes instead of 40.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Sean Gleason, CEO of the PBR here, our guest on the Jason Walker Show. This is something at the Lazy E that you guys started working on really back in March, Sean, and there's a lot of work that went into it, and obviously it worked last week. It's going to work this next couple of weekends, but tell me about the work that went in behind the scenes.
Well, we were the last sport to buck bulls, or to have any sport, I believe. And we did it for a television only and no crowd in Duluth, Georgia in mid-March. And the guidance at that point was that you shouldn't gather more than 250 people. And we did the event with about 150. And so we're within the guidance. And then it changed twice by Tuesday of the following week. And the guidance came down that you shouldn't have groups of bigger than 10 at any point in time. And so we started creating a protocol that divided all of our people into functional groups and started looking at ways that we could not only conduct the event, but house them, feed them, and keep them safe while we're in a closed environment. And we were able to do that here at the Lazy. It's a private ranch with 300 acres. And so we've got about 2 acres per person to figure out how to keep them socially distanced, and it's working.
I was talking to Flint Rasmussen last week about this, and he said too that you got the camping. Everybody's in their own campers, and this is you have the ability and the space to be able to do this, but it's kind of a different thing where everybody's basically on site for 48 to 72 hours.
Yeah, most of the people here. We actually moved up check-in time so we could get everybody tested and the results back before we put them into the work environment. So everybody's checking in today here on Thursday, and then most people will, if they're heading home, will leave home on Sunday. A lot of us this time around are staying the full week because we are bucking bulls again next weekend. So, but it's funny because I saw Flint in the arena during the event from a distance of probably 50 yards, and I saw him once on the ground. Passing by in our Can-Am that I was driving around, and other than that, I didn't even see him the first weekend, and that's kind of what we want to have here: socially distanced folks in their isolated groups, and while we normally hang out with each other and travel together for weeks on end every year, we just can't do that here. So the functional groups are working, and Flint and his group got to sit around a campfire 6 feet apart, but the rest of us just don't get to hang out. And we've got plenty of space to do that here, and plenty of hookups, like 500 hookups for RVs,
Wow.
and we've got RVs essentially for every single person that's here.
Sean Gleason, the CEO of the PBR, our guest here on the Mike Miller State Farm Hotline. You mentioned the daily medical screening that everybody has to go through in order to be competing and to be working as well. How intense, Sean, is that medical screening? Is it more than just getting your temperature taken?
Oh, absolutely. We weren't sure we were going to be able to get testing, so we were prepared to go without it if necessary. But tests became much more readily available, and we had an opportunity to implement it as part of our protocol. So everybody is CDC screened, which is the questions that CDC asks of anyone. Basically, are you symptomatic, or have you been around anybody that's shown signs of symptoms? We temperature check them before they even get past the security gate in their personal vehicle. Then they park, fill out their paperwork. They're escorted in one at a time for antibody as well as active virus testing. And then they have to wait for the results of the antibody tests, which is the first indicator. And then they're released to their RVs, where they need to basically stay away from everybody and get the active virus test back. And once we do that, they're safe to go about their duties here, still following the protocols. But it's a very rigorous process that we're doing, not to just do it and get an event done, but really for the safety and health and well-being of everybody that's involved here.
What would you say to people that would ask about where you got the testing and it's not readily available for some states? What I'm saying here is there's been a lot of that over the course of the last 7 to 8 weeks. What would you say to people that say that?
I'd say that do your research, because that's fake news. There's a lot of tests out there, a lot of tests that are that may not be fully FDA approved at this point, but are well along in the process and very reliable. And if you do your homework, you could have access to tens of thousands of tests and not take any out of the supply chain for the states and the other authorities that need them. It really comes down to the fact that the states and the local communities just aren't buying the tests. So there's a lot of tests out there that you can buy, but our states and our local county governments and city governments just aren't buying them. So we did a lot of homework on that. We didn't want to take anything out of the supply chain for medical professionals, whether it was PPE or tests. And, it's just fake news. There's a lot of tests out there. And on the PPE side, we manufactured our own respirators on our 3D printers in the office. We had masks made by a company that normally makes backdrops and seat covers for us. And so we found some creative ways around those challenges.
That's a great answer. Sean Gleason joining us here, Jason Walker Show, the CEO of the PBR. You're also working, we talked a little bit about the riders, and you're putting more people on the chutes and to help out. But how cooperative have some of these guys been? Because like you said, there's a lot of them that want to buck bulls and just want to get on bulls, and this is their moneymaker, really, but they have to be cooperative as well.
Yeah, well, I made it perfectly clear to them that if they want the opportunity to earn money and buck bulls during a pandemic, they better follow our rules. And, it's not too much to ask of them to do that for 3 days, 3 weekends over a month, and really get the opportunity to get those Unleash the Beast Tour events in and put that money in their pockets. And so they understand that. They've been great about it. We asked everybody to bring their personal vehicles here. So some guys had to drive from a long ways away to get here. And, it's a little bit of a pain to do that and congregate here at the Lazy E. But everybody's done it. Everybody understands that it's an opportunity for them to make money at a time that they otherwise couldn't. And we're covering the costs of, their housing, accommodations, meals, and travel. So they better not complain.
Absolutely. Sean Gleason joining us here, Jason Walker Show. You're also going with smaller production crew. And, I've been to a PBR event, in Kansas City. It's amazing, from the pyrotechnics to the video board, everything. This is as bare bones as a production crew as you can get, and still put on a great event for television, which we'll talk about in a second. But how skeleton crew are we talking?
We're down about 100 people from a normal production. We'll have a total of 150 people here, which is contestants, stock contractors. But we've had to limit the number of people that can get in here. So there's more bulls coming in this weekend from other stock contractors, but we had to have them haul them to some of the stock contractors that were here last week to get them into the facility, because we don't want to introduce a lot of new people week in and week out. And so we're down about 100, but unfortunately, we don't have fans in the stands to serve. And so some of those things like pyrotechnics and big video production for the in-arena crew and stuff is just not necessary. And so we've been able to get it done. There's a lot of double duty, and several of the PBR senior executives are here on the cleaning crew or the testing crew or garbage crew for that matter. We're all pitching in, and everybody's here to fill in. And it's in a challenging time, it's been an extremely rewarding process to see everybody come together and do something, frankly, that no other sport was able to do up until this coming weekend when our sister company UFC will come back. But it's just been a rewarding process to do it and do it safely and responsibly.
You mentioned too that you were one of the last in Duluth, Georgia, before having to shut down for a little over a month. NASCAR's coming back as well. These are fan-driven sports, and like you mentioned, the UFC too, that people want to be at, and it's obviously you can't. So you've got to do the TV aspect of it. But these are non-traditional sports, Sean, as far as baseball, basketball, football, all that. It's hard to have a PBR event with no fans, or a NASCAR event with no fans. But it seems to be, it worked last week, and it's not ideal, but it's the best because people need an outlet, and watching PBR it's a great outlet.
Well, and certainly not ideal. I mean, we'd prefer to have fans in the stands. The energy is much higher, and the guys, feed off of that, ride better. So, but week in and week out, our biggest audience is at home watching on television, and so to be able to get back and serve them in this time when it is virtually impossible to gather, any number of people together, we consider that to be a blessing, and that we've been able to do that. And, we've got a few announcements coming out in the next couple of weeks. We're going to keep going, and I think we'll probably be one of the first sports to actually announce that we are coming back with fans in July.
Well, breaking news here on the Jason Walker Show. I like that. That would be fantastic. Sean, it's been tough because you're stuck in Guthrie, Oklahoma, and the Lazy E Arena. You're not able to go to these cities. Billings, just our neighbors to the east of us, missed the PBR event, the longest running PBR event on the main tour. You've had other cities, Albuquerque, not being able to host. And how do you plan on, you can't make it up to those cities, obviously, and those fans, but is there a way to give back to those communities that missed the PBR this year?
Well, one, I wouldn't say that we can't make it up to them, because we are actually looking at some of the longest running events like Billings and Albuquerque and others. Can we get them back on the schedule in the 2020 season? And I think we're going to be able to get a couple of them in. It may mean sacrificing an event that was new on the schedule, or one that we haven't had that kind of history in. But we're working diligently to figure out if we can reschedule some of those events and do them in a window before the end of the 2020 season. And those, we don't take the support of the fans, like fans at Billings, lightly, and we are not forgetting about them. We're looking at every possible avenue to get back to them. So we haven't ruled out that we're not going to have an event for them this year.
Well, you broke the news. You're going to maybe have fans in July. Is Billings going to be that first one? That would be really cool.
I can tell you that Billings won't be the first one, but we've got an active planning and strategy moving forward that is going to try and get us back into Billings before the end of the year.
Sean Gleason, the PBR CEO, our guest here, Jason Walker Show. You and I have been chatting here for a little bit, and I'd be remiss if I don't ask you how important, actually, he's the one that sent me this text, but how important is Flint Rasmussen?
Flint Rasmussen likes to think that he's the most important human being on the planet and the most important person to the PBR. And as I say that, I hope everybody can hear the sarcasm in my voice, because Flint Rasmussen has been a great friend and one of the most important people to the PBR in my 21 years here. And if I said anything different, I'd be lying. But, don't tell him, because it'll just go to his head.
Oh, absolutely. He's a great family friend, longtime friend. Did you give him a hard time, Sean, because of the pictures on Facebook a couple of weeks ago where it was him looking all majestic out in a field somewhere in Montana?
Yeah.
Those were bad.
Yeah, trust me. Yeah, I mean, come on, Flint. You're a clown.
Right? Exactly.
No, actually, he's the best entertainer. I say this all the time. Flint Rasmussen I would put him against any entertainer in any industry in any capacity, for the difficulty of the job that he does, between the physical comedy and the timeliness of it, and the live crowd and the setting that he's in. I mean, he amazes me often. But again, nobody please tell him that, because it'll just go to his head.
Good thing he's driving to Guthrie, Oklahoma and won't hear this. Sean Gleason joining us. All kidding aside, though, this has been it's been a tough 2 months for people. And, there's not just the Cowboys, but there's a lot of people behind the scenes that rely on the PBR for their living and to earn a living. How tough has that been, to not being able to, have those people around, Sean, but also, their paychecks have been cut, essentially?
Well, honestly, that's why we work so hard to get back at events, even if they're for television only. It's the easy path, frankly, would have been to just pack it in like virtually every other sport did, and say, well, throw your hands up in the air and say, we're not sure what we're going to go do. But our industry is entirely dependent on the event, and so we made the bad situation. We made the most of it, and worked really hard to get everybody back to work and put some money in their pockets, and we'll be back as strong as ever. Everybody's struggling right now through tough times, but the other thing is that we wanted to be, I guess, a little bit of a model for how you can work hard and creatively to get back to work in a safe and responsible way. I think most people, most industries, a lot of sports businesses I've seen, they're waiting for somebody else to tell them that the problem is over and that they can just go back to normal. And I don't think normal is going to happen for a long time. So every American should be out there trying to find creative ways to get the economy going and get their businesses back up and running. And we just happen to be the first sport to do that. And that makes me proud of my team. And we did it because it's critical to literally thousands of people. The industry is dependent on our events, and their economic health, we feel, is equally as important as their physical health.
Speaking of the physical health, you look at last week's some of the highlights, and I mean, there's guys like you or high-ranking members of the PBR out there sanitizing the buck and shoots and sanitizing the arena and all of. I mean, you're getting the food screened and sanitized that's delivered in. It's a long, tough process. How proud of the crew are you?
I'm really proud of the crew. It's, our chief operating officer, Rod Granger, is in charge of cleaning and sanitization, and I was just one of his crew members. And I'm also I'm probably a third, fourth, or fifth option on the security team. And, and it's just, everybody stepped up. Everybody has stepped up and really thought through the best ways to do this safely and responsibly, and everybody's taken it very seriously. And I got the best team in sports and entertainment. period, bar none. We can move a mountain from one side of the road and move it back before anybody knew it was missing. And that's what we've done here. And I couldn't be more proud of the team and our accomplishments. And we're just getting started. We've got some more breaking news coming next week. We're going to keep bucking and all through June.
So you'll be at Lazy E through June, is that right? And then maybe
no, we're packing it up and moving it to Colorado.
Oh, okay. That's closer to Montana. I like that.
Yeah, it's Lazy E is a beautiful place and we love it here, but they fortunately have events that are starting to reschedule and get back on track, and cuttings and ropings and some other events. So we don't want to keep them from getting back to normal. So we've got another facility lined up that we can set up in Buck Bowls for a month in a special format we'll be announcing next week.
That is fantastic. Hey, I know you're a busy guy. I appreciate the time. There's a ton of other questions I could ask, but I want to let you get back to getting the arena all ready for the weekend. So it'll be Saturday and Sunday this weekend, and then Sunday's on CBS Sports Network. Is that right?
Saturday and Sunday live on CBS Sports Network this weekend. Then next weekend we'll be live on CBS Sports Network for 2 broadcasts, but we'll also have a live championship round on CBS Network on Sunday. We want everybody to tune into that one.
Fantastic, and of course you can always ride pass the events as well because that's a great site too. Sean, appreciate the time. Stay safe, take care, and say hi to Flint from a distance. For everybody should say hi to Flint from a distance, I think. But
This policy of social isolation is going to last for a long, long time for Flint Rasmussen. We're just going to keep him isolated for the next 10 years or so.
I like that. Sean Gleason, the CEO of the PBR, our guest. Appreciate it, and hopefully we see you soon.
Absolutely. We'll be back to Billings.
That is Sean Gleason joining us on the Mike Miller State Farm Hotline. So there you go. When people ask, where is PBR getting the test and where are these NBA teams or NHL, well, there's a lot of available tests. And you heard, and that's not coming from me. That's coming from a guy who's done a lot of research, from a guy who has checked out a lot because he wants his organization to be as safe as possible. And with the PBR back in Guthrie, Oklahoma this weekend and next, they're testing everybody, which is fantastic. So there you go. PBR, check your local listings for CBS Sports Network this weekend and then next weekend and then also on CBS Network as well. But lots of stuff trying to come back. It's great that we get the PBR. It is great that NASCAR is coming back. I don't know how that's going to work exactly because you still have to have a lot of people. And NASCAR is going to be in Darlington for a few races and then at Charlotte for a few races. So we'll see how all that works. But the PBR back again this weekend, Lazy E Arena. And again, you can watch on CBS Sports Network both this weekend and next, and CBS next weekend as well. So there you go, straight from Sean Gleason, who I like his idea of social distancing from Flint Rasmussen. Everybody should social distance from Flint. Just say hi to him from, a distance. Not 6 feet, because that's too close in some cases. All right. Hey, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to wrap things up. But we have On This Day in History, the walk-off. But we also we're going to hear from Jay Billis and Dan Schulman and get their thoughts on their first thoughts when COVID-19 first became a big deal in the middle of March, about 2 months ago now. And it doesn't seem that long. It really doesn't. It just seems like a couple of weeks ago we were talking about cancellations of basketball tournaments, but here we are 8 weeks later. We'll hear from them. There's a little girl that's gotten over 8 million views of a fantastic song that she has written, and it's actually been covered now by certain bands like The Cure, I think a couple others as well. And we'll play her video. It's a very short song, but it's fantastic. Also, America at the Movies. Going to tell us what baseball movies to watch this weekend. And that and a whole lot more coming up. This last segment was brought to you by our friends at Rucker's Furniture. Make the quality choice for your home at Rucker's Furniture, 1010 Dearborn, Helena.
Store-wide savings are what you'll find when you shop for new home furnishings at Rucker's Furniture. This means tremendous values on Helena's largest in-stock selection of home furnishings. When you shop Rucker's, you'll find store-wide savings on the furniture you want for every room in your home. And you'll also find our selection of Serta iComfort, the most comfortable beds in Helena. 12-month financing is available with approved credit on most purchases over $299. Ask for details. You'll find store-wide savings at Rucker's Furniture, 1010 Dearborn, Helena.
During this time of uncertainty and stay-at-home orders, Dinners Done Right wants to remind you that they're still open. Just go to dinnersdoneright.com, place your order, and then pick it up for dinner that night, or plan ahead and order for the weekend. It's easy. Visit dinnersdoneright.com, register, pick your meals, then pick them up, or stop in and grab meals out of the front freezer. Dinners Done Right's taking extra precautions with extra cleanings going on with every piece of equipment and personnel. Dinners Done Right thanks you for your continued support, and may we all stay safe and healthy during this time. Spring is fast approaching and summer is just around the corner, so now is the time to get those windows tinted at Auto Concepts as the sun starts to heat up. Tinting is the best way to keep the sun out of your little one's eyes driving down the road. Plus, it just looks cool. Auto Concepts is your exclusive 3M dealer for tinting, as well as the best clear bras in town. Auto Concepts clear bras will not fade or yellow over time. And don't forget about suspension lifts and power steps for your rig too. Visit AutoConceptsHelena.com or check them out on Facebook. Auto Concepts, the auto enhancement professionals. Have you thought about buying a home and just don't know where to begin? Well, when it comes to one of the most important purchases one can make, we understand it can be frustrating and confusing, but it doesn't have to be. Let the Major Mortgage team help you with all your mortgage needs. Major Mortgage means major service, and we would love the opportunity to help you today. Give J.R. McFadden, NMLS number 1246357, a call today at 406-465-1918, or you can visit him at 2001 11th Avenue, Building A, Suite 3 in Helena. Major Mortgage is a division of AMCAP Mortgage, NMLS number 129122, equal housing lender.
Who doesn't love being number one? When your team's dominating the standings, or your favorite band rocks the charts at number one, it feels good, right? Kind of like how it feels when you have auto insurance with State Farm. Because making you feel like number one is an honor your local State Farm agent takes seriously. Through the good times and not so good, your State Farm agent's proud to be here to help life go right.
Call State Farm agent Mike Miller in Helena today.
I'm done with this.
Thinking about trying something new? The Montana Air National Guard has so many exciting career fields to choose from, many that can open up opportunities in your civilian life. The best part? You'll be getting paid to learn a new trade skill right here at home. What are you waiting for? Let's get you in school and get you paid. Contact Leak Fecto at 406-788-8962.
Yes, it's true that Montana is a long way from the Gulf Coast, but you can bring that Cajun flavor home with a stop at Cafe ZYDECO. From po' boys to classic sandwiches, Cafe ZYDECO has all the best Cajun in town. Are you in the mood for seafood gumbo or crawfish etouffee? Maybe you're craving jambalaya with some shrimp and grits. Head in for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, or call ahead for pickup or delivery. Cafe ZYDECO will fix all your southern cravings, even on a chilly Montana day. Cafe ZYDECO is a proud sponsor of The Jason Walker Show.
Welcome back to the Jason Walker Show.
Final segment on a finally Friday Jason Walker Show, Major Mortgage Man Cave. Mother's Day coming up. Don't forget on Sunday. Make sure you get your mom, wife taken care of. Okay? Cards, flowers, whatever. However you celebrate it. Just do it. Oh, and by the way, make sure you get on the schedule now for all your lawn, tree, and pest needs at Nitro Green. Give them a call at Nitro Green, 443-5088 or nitrogreenhelena.com. They're going to remove a tree from my yard. So we moved into our house here 4 years ago, and the tree's been dead since before we moved in. And when we moved in, the people that had lived here before, the backyard was basically nothing. It was like an infield dirt infield of softball diamond. But not even that nice. So with Nitro Green's help, my grass now looks like a beautiful Major League Baseball outfield. So get on the schedule. Lawn Pest and Tree Needs, nitrogreenhelena.com. Also going to have a raspberry bush removed. Now, if you have raspberry bushes, keep an eye on them. Our neighbor had some raspberry bushes, destroyed her strawberries and corn or whatever else she was growing. I don't know what she was growing. But it snuck under the fence into our yard and, hurts the dogs. So we're getting raspberry bushes removed. But Nitro Green's going to do it all. And they're fantastic. So give them a call, 443-5088, or wherever Nitro Green is in your town where you listen and watch the Jason Walker Show. Speaking of watching, what are we going to be watching this weekend? Well, Power Activities Director Merrick Parnell joins us once again for another edition of Merrick at the Movies.
This is Merrick at the Movies with another sports movie recommendation. This week we're covering Web Gems. That's right, the flicks of the baseball diamond. And we'll start out with The $1 Million Arm, the 2014 movie starring John Hamm. He plays a Dodger scout that goes to India to try to find the next great pitching prospect and convert a cricket player into a major league ball player. The classic Major League 1980s baseball movie with a cast of lovable characters is next. We had Charlie Sheen as the Wild Thing Vaughn in a movie with a lot of laughs and classic baseball. Then we have the 1993 classic Sandlot. It summarizes all of our childhood baseball memories into one epic summer saga. And then lastly, we have 42, the 2013 movie starring Black Panther's Chadwick Boseman, and also Harrison Ford as the famous Branch Rickey. The movie does a great job of reenacting and retelling the epic story of Jackie Robinson. This has been Merrick at the Movies, and when COVID's over, we'll see you at the cinema.
There you go, another edition of Merrick at the Movies, thanks to Merrick Parnell. I'm disappointed, though. Merrick didn't include Bull Durham. What a classic. There's a lot of great baseball movies. Field of Dreams, another one that wasn't on the list for Merrick. But Merrick Parnell, give him a follow at Merrick Movies on the Instagram. It's a great follow. All right. So there you go, some baseball recommendations for movies to watch this weekend. All right. So it was the middle of March, like March, 10th through or 9th through the 13th, 14th. When all this stuff started happening, COVID-19, everything. And all sorts of basketball tournament. We know everything got canceled. But yesterday I was part of a National Sports Media Association Zoom call with Dan Schulman, who does play-by-play for college basketball and pro baseball, and Jay Billis, who is Schulman's partner on college basketball on ESPN. And they were asked a question about their thoughts when they first started hearing about COVID-19, and we're going to share it now here on the Jason Walker Show.
From basically 8 in the morning throughout the day of framing everything with not only the competitive side but the history side and then the news side of it, and it was such a human element to the entire thing. I mean, it was a public health issue that was taking over in a way that we had never experienced before. It was unprecedented in the television age, I believe. So for me, when I look back on it, the one thing that I think about more than anything was I in tune with sort of what was happening in the days leading up to it? And I'll tell you this, like there were two things that made a major impact on me in covering that. One was a really good friend of mine in Charlotte that's a doctor who told me probably a week before that, he had mentioned to me, you need to stop flying. And then and I thought it was alarmist when he said that. And then he gave me a bunch of things to read about sort of flattening the curve and all the things that could happen going forward. And it turned out that all of that was prescient and right. And if it weren't for that really good friend of mine, I think I would have been playing even more catch up. on everything, but also the Wednesday. I got to Greensboro on the Wednesday. I don't remember the exact date, but everything was canceled on Thursday. So I got there Wednesday. Dan was already there. So he had been to the game. He went over to the arena, and then I wound up seeing him in the just outside the lobby of the hotel. And he said something to me that really crystallized it. You know, Dan has mentioned he lives in Toronto, Canada, and he had said, I don't think the people in the United States are paying as close attention to how serious this is. And that really stunned me. And I started really thinking about it and thinking about what my doctor friend had been preparing me for. And so I had a different perspective later for the rest of that day, I think. Look, we all entered it with a different perspective. And I'm not sure anybody could wrap their head around it fully. But in a long form answer to your question, Wes, if I had it to do over again, I hope that I would have even prepared myself more for the news aspect of it, because it was foreseeable. The Ivy League canceled their tournament on Monday of that week. And so that probably should have been a question that we were asking more forcefully leading up to that. And I think we all got there, especially when we were talking about it on your show that morning, when we were, I think, seemed like we were all in agreement, you and Pack and I, that there's no way that the ACC can play. And then John Swafford came on right after me, I think, and said, well, we're playing. That there were a lot of stunning elements to that day, but I think, you know, Wes, you were just fantastic. You and Pack, and it just framed it for all of us, I think, so well, and I'm so grateful for that.
Well, that's kind of you. I appreciate it. Dan, I mean, I just think we learned something from events like that, too.
Yeah, we absolutely do. I mean, one of them is that, you know, even if we're as prepared as we can be, we're a little bit out of our element. I mean, I'm not a reporter, never mind a news reporter. And it's difficult, but you just, as Jay said, it's not a sports story anymore. It's a public health story. It's turned into a global crisis. And what Jay was talking about when we met outside the hotel on Wednesday, I just happened to have a friend who's an infectious disease specialist at a big hospital in Toronto. And he had a few days, not a lot, but a few days before, he had said, he was emailing with me and saying, where are you traveling and do you have to go? And I remember, his name is Andrew. I remember writing back to Andrew and saying, are we nearing some kind of a tipping point on this, Andrew? And he said, we're past the tipping point. People just don't know it yet. And that's the mindset I took down to Greensboro. So when Jay and I were talking, I had just had a couple of days head start on this again, because I've got a friend who was literally a frontline, first responder on this kind of thing. You know, it's funny, I think back now, and I'm a little, I don't think I did a good job, because my wife gave me masks that she had gotten from somebody at least 2 road trips, maybe 3 road trips before. And, you know, Jay, you and I did Carolina at Duke. That was only 4 days before Greensboro. None of us ever, I don't remember any of us ever talking about it. And we did, I think Kansas Baylor was the game before that. Never talked about it. And I've got masks with me. And my wife says, will you wear them in the airport? And I said, yes, I will. And I didn't wear them in the airport. And I would call her, and she knew I didn't wear them. And I'd said, there are like 3 people wearing, 4 people wearing, 6 people wearing. But to those of us who didn't really know what was going on, it was like a tsunami. It was sudden. And all of a sudden it changed our world. But I don't want to bore people with the details of this, but I've kind of sort of had something like this once before, because I was doing a Sunday night baseball game when Osama bin Laden was killed. Oh. And that was another one where they don't teach you how to do this in the play-by-play handbook. Like, we were in the 7th inning of a game when the story broke. And again, I won't bore you with the details. It's somewhere on the internet, I'm sure. But I'll tell you what helped me a lot. Mike Tirico texted me during that game. I'm such a name dropper. Mike Tirico texted me during that game and said, you're at a ballpark with 45,000 people. You're at the gathering. You're at the largest gathering of Americans anywhere in the world. That is part of the story. Put everything in context. And it was that word context that stuck with me. And I think that's what we all have to do. If these world news stories ever come our way, whether we're doing a game like Eric was, or whether we were supposed to do a game like we were, I think you just gotta, it's not about sports anymore. You gotta put it in context. What are the people at home thinking about? Are they thinking about their kids who are overseas? Are they thinking about their kids who are at college somewhere? Do they think this is overblown? There were a lot of people I talked with in Greensboro, not a lot, a few people I talked with in Greensboro on Wednesday who were there aren't any cases in this county. It's going to blow over. And by Thursday, our whole world had changed to an extent that none of us could see. I think it's just about trying to put things in context as best you can. But this was such a uncharted water situation. I think we were all kind of just feeling our way through it to the best of our ability.
So that was Dan Schulman and Jay Billis, who interesting, right? Think about that. How much things changed that week. And we were trying our best. And, as a sports guy, it puts it in perspective. And I've done news in the past. So, we're able to cover a little bit. But all right, so let's do On This Day in History before we finally get to our great video of the week. Today is April. No, it's not. It's May the 8th. It is. On This Day brought to you by the Motherlode Sports Bar, Casino, and Restaurant. Back open. Get in there and support Jan and the gang. It is National Coconut Cream Pie Day, National Have a Coke Day, Student Nurse Day, Military Spouse Appreciation Day. 1907, Boston's big Jeff Peffer no-hit the Cincinnati Reds. 1907 as well, Canadian Tommy Burns retained his world heavyweight boxing title. He beat Philadelphia Jack O'Brien in 20 rounds in L.A. Carl Hubble of the Giants threw a no-hitter on this date in 1929. 1936, jockey Ralph Neves fell off his horse. He was unexpectedly revived after being declared dead after a fall on the track. His wife fainted when he returned. You think? This date in 1937, War Admiral won the Kentucky Derby. 1968, Jim Catfish Hunter pitched a perfect game. 1994, the Colorado Silver Bullets, the all-female pro baseball team, played its first game. 1980, Friday the 13th debuted in theaters. Great series. Up through probably Friday the 13th Part 4 was the first four were the best. Let's see. Happy birthdays today. Harry Truman, the 33rd U.S. president, born on this date in 1884. Sonny Liston, born on this date in 1932. Ricky Nelson was born on this date in 1940. Hello, Mary Lou. Take you to a garden party. He was in Rio Bravo with John Wayne, Dean Martin. Peter Benchley, who wrote Jaws, was born on this date in 1940 as well. Enrique Iglesias, born on this date in 1975. Let me be your hero. And on this date in 1945, German General Wilhelm Keitel formally surrendered to the Allies, ending World War II. All right, there you go. Now let's do this.
We're almost at the end of the show. What did we learn? And what did he miss? Time for the walk-off.
All right. I've been waiting all week to show this. I figured it's finally Friday. What the hell? We're going to do it. This is a great video from a great young lady. It's 20 seconds long or so. She wrote the song herself. Just listen and enjoy.
I wonder what's inside your butthole. I wonder what's inside your butthole. Maybe there's astronauts and maybe there's aliens all inside your butthole. What's inside your butthole? I always want to know. What's inside your butthole? I always want to know. What's inside your butt?
There you go.
I wonder what's inside your butthole.
I don't know.
What's inside your butthole? Maybe there's astronauts and maybe there's aliens all inside your
Thanks to Sean Gleason joining us this week. Today, Tim Brando, Brittany Jackson, Dave Gore, and Cassie Turner. Next week, we'll chat with Steve Keller, Providence men's basketball coach. Also, Pete Van Mullen will join us, a former classmate of mine. He's done a great job in his career helping out coaches. We're going to have a great week. Happy Mother's Day. Support your mom or your wife on Sunday. We'll see you back here on Monday.
I wonder what's inside your butthole. I wonder what's inside your butthole. Maybe there's astronauts and maybe there's aliens all inside your butthole. What's inside your butthole?
The Jason Walker Show is produced by the Jason Walker Media Company. Any reuse, rebroadcast, or retransmission without the express written consent of the Jason Walker Show is strictly prohibited. Just listen, watch, and enjoy.